Proper tripod and everything.
now.
Are we live now?
Yes.
Is this so people can watch the warm-up?
Yes.
We're live.
Yeah, we.
I've been told we're live, so I best start.
And
Otherwise
you've got a viewer.
people will tune out. I've got one viewer.
Yes.
Fantastic. Right. It's going well so far. Okay, so the purpose of this meeting is obviously just to tell you a little bit about the stats that will be coming up in May this year, and to answer any questions you might have about those, and also to tell you about a few of the revision guides you might want to think about purchasing to help your children. So, first thing, what are the SATs? Okay, so the SATs, for those of you who don't know, they are stands for standard assessment tests, and they're where the government find out the level of education of children in the country and determine how well schools are performing. Okay, so in one very real sense, they are about the schools, they are about the government checking the performance of the schools and the standard of children's education. They do test your children, okay, but in no sense they determine your child's future. Things are not set in stone by the results of their SATs they take at 11 years old. However, a good SAT result can be very motivating, can be very rewarding, and very confidence building as your child is going into secondary school. It gives them a really good start. It's a really good end to all they've learned in primary school, and you can imagine the kind of boosting confidence and motivation going into secondary school by doing really well in their SAT. So for that reason, we do say it's really important for the children to do as well as they can. When are they? So, they're roughly the same time each year, and they are set out so every single person, every single child in the country does them exactly the same time on the same day. So Monday the 13th of May 2019, giving us approximately 10 weeks of school time. We take out Easter holidays. So Monday we've got the grammar, punctuation, spelling, and the spelling part of that. That's on the Monday. Tuesday is English reading. Wednesday is 2 maths papers, the arithmetic and the reasoning, and then Thursday is the final maths paper. So every single child will sit every single one of those papers at the same time. They're all done first thing in the morning. Okay, so they all start at 9 o'clock. So pretty much, apart from on these 2 days we've got 2, they're all done by break time. Okay, there's only a couple of days where they go after break, and they're all done by lunchtime. By lunchtime on Thursday, they're all done. Okay, everything's finished. So that's how that looks, how they delivered. So, I mean, I didn't kind of put this on here, but it strikes me now, this is kind of what you might be wondering. They are delivered in classrooms. Okay, so the tables are split out, so we spread the children out as much as they can be spread out within the classroom. There may be different groups of children to take them in different areas of the school for whatever reason, if we want small groups. We'll talk about that nearer the time. But they are done in the classrooms under the supervision of at least one teacher, probably 2, a teacher and a TA, and there may be a moderator from the county, the local authority, who may just randomly turn up at schools to check they're being administered correctly. So they'll be the people in the classroom, and then we'll do. So the reading is a single 1-hour test. So just one test, it's an hour long, and that encompasses everything they need to do, all of the reading and all of the questions. It's generally, these things do change year on year, but we haven't heard it's changed this year as such. 3 tests increasing difficulty. Okay, so it starts easier, harder, and then harder. The children read them, they answer the comprehension questions on them. It's scored at 50. Last year's pass mark was 28 out of 50. That changes every year. 2 years ago it was 21 out of 50. We don't know what it is this year. What they do is they get in all the results, and then afterwards they work out what the pass mark was based on how well people did on that paper. So we don't know. It hovers around the mid-20s, something like that. For those of you who are thinking about greater depth, we do get a greater depth score, and that is 40 on the reading last year, so 40 out of 50 is quite a lot to get greater depth. It is a challenging target to aim for. The SPAG paper stands for Spelling, Punctuation and Grammar. There's 2 papers, one's a grammar and punctuation, that's 45 minutes long, and then there's 20 spellings, and that's not timed at all. Okay, it's not like how a day, but it's not a strict time limit. Once every child is finished, then we take that paper as finished. Each of the 20 spellings has 1 mark each. So every single spelling is 1 mark, which weights it quite a lot in the favour of spelling, which is why spelling is really important for children at this stage. There's 50 marks for the grammar paper, so that makes 70 marks in total. Last year's pass mark was around 38. So you can see for the reading and the SPAG, around half, around 50% is going to give them a good chance of getting that pass mark. Maths has 3 tests, which sounds like a lot, but there's a lot of areas to cover in maths. You've got measure, shape and space, addition, subtraction, all sorts of things. There's a lot of areas to cover. The first test is an arithmetic test, that's 30 minutes, and it's straight out sums. Straightforward sums, no word questions, no word, no things like that. It is just addition, takeaway, fractions, those kind of things. And that's 40 marks for that. We really encourage the children to push as hard as they can on that, because that's the first test. A lot of children, straight out sums is a good strength of theirs. If they can get 40 marks or near that on that test, that sets them in really good stead for the next two. The other two are 40 minutes and they're 35 marks each, and the other two are reasoning papers. They're no different from each other. They're exactly the same, except they cover different material, but they're not harder or easier or anything like that. The total marks are 110. Your last year's pass mark was 61, again just over half marks. The GDS, so the greater depth, that was 100 out of 110. So greater depth for maths is a very high standard, and that purely reflects the number of children across the country who are getting very high scores in maths. That's why it's so high to get greater depth, because you're comparing your child, basically, their performance against everyone in the country. That's why it's such a high level. Writing, I'll mention this now. There's no SATs test in writing, there doesn't exist. Then it's not assessed by a formal test. So the bank of evidence, every Friday, children do a big write, which we call it's an extended write. It's in these books. I hope there'll be one line here. Books look like this, okay? So an extended write, and they fill up the evidence in those books throughout the year. And then they've got that bank of evidence. We have to submit that evidence, and it's a teacher-assessed judgment. So myself and Miss Dell will decide, has that child met the standard, are they working at greater depth, or have they not quite got to that standard? It is a teacher-assessed standard, so we do make that judgment by ourselves and report it to the county by ourselves based on the evidence in their books, but we are often judged by external moderators who come in and check that we're on line with what we're saying the children are at. That's submitted at the end of June. So fortunately, halfway through May's already sat, we then got 6 weeks before the writing has to be submitted. So how we tend to do it is during revision, we focus a lot on the spelling, punctuation and grammar, a lot on the maths and the reading, leave the writing a little bit on a back burner as we're doing it, because we know we've got those 6 weeks to really focus on that afterwards. So that's how those work. Any questions at this point about how they've been administered? No. For those of you who've obviously had siblings coming through year 6, it is very similar sort of each year. Results, I'll go through this now. Results for each subject are essentially working at, which is expected level, working towards, which is slightly below where we hope they're going to be, and working at great depth, which we've covered. There are also scaled scores, which you will get with your child, and they give some indication of how well your child has performed. Because you imagine if you get, for example, working towards, and you really thought your child, I thought they were at that level, I thought they were, you don't know whether they missed it by 1 mark or whether they were quite a way off, and you might quite want to know, and your child might want to know, well, how close was I? Was I really close? So you do get a scaled score. The scaled score is based on 100 being the pass mark. Okay, so it's basically saying that your expected standard is 100. So you know if your child gets 101, they've just got over that boundary. If they get 99, they're just below that boundary. It just kind of gives you some indication of that. But that will come out in a letter with the reports in July. So when you get your reports in July, at the end of the year, a letter will come with it explaining all the scale scores and everything like that. So I'm not going to worry about that too much at this point. Before SATs, we obviously have a revision period where things change a little bit. So that's going to start not the beginning of week 3. So this is week 1. So next Monday, I suppose, a week on Monday. So from week 3 of this term, there's 7 weeks of revision. The way we're going to do that is by the following things. There's no year 5s in the morning. We've got the year 5s taken up by a separate teacher for the morning sessions, which leaves us with a smaller class of year 6s in both classes, leaves us with 22, 23 children in each class, which allows us to really get more time for those children. We're doing support groups after school. Some of you already come into those and had emails about those. So they're running all through this revision period, and during assembly time as well. Double homework. So unfortunately, for those 7 weeks, okay, there will be a maths and a literacy homework each week, just to cover both of them. Okay, that's unfortunately how it is. For those 7 weeks, and the lessons are going to be quite quick, short, focused lessons. Okay, lots of looking at kind of test questions and things like that, just to get them hopefully so that they can answer the test as well as they can. Okay. The reason for doing that is just because if you've never sort of taken a test before, even though you've got the knowledge there and the ability, the way the test is laid out, the way it's phrased, can often throw children, and we don't want that to happen. We want to have the best chance to show off what knowledge they have in that test. So we get them used to the test, get them used to the format, so they don't kind of worry when they get something slightly different or looks slightly different on the day. Cool. Anyone questions at this point? Any online questions at this point?
Not at the moment.
Do I have any more viewers?
You've got 4 at the moment, but you have got to 6.
I have,
But
they
some people-
this isn't what I expected. Okay, so I'm maintaining with 4. Okay. Supporting the child at home. Okay, so there are some things during the revision period which are probably quite important. Okay, so making time for reading is always important. Reading is always important. Every time I talk to any parent who I ever see, even if I see them in the street at Tesco, I'll mention reading just because it's just really important to bang on about it. It's definitely important, and into secondary school as well. Just keep doing that. Supporting them in completing homework, there are 2 pieces a week, okay, so that support is really, really essential. If they are finding stuff difficult, of course, myself and Miss Stell can always help, but it does help if they come into us on Monday morning and say, I found the homework difficult, I was struggling with that, rather than wait until we go, where's the homework that was due yesterday, and they go, oh yeah, I was finding something a little bit difficult. It helps if they come in on the Monday and talk to us about that. Practicing spellings, again, sort of spellings are on the website, follow with the rules. They've also got spelling journals in class, which are, you're welcome to come in and have a look at some of the words in there to use. I know I've sent some emails home about spelling to certain children. Practicing those, is going to be really important as well. And when we get to their writing level as well, it's going to be really important. Final working through some revision materials. We're going to cover that in a minute. Talk to your child's teacher, put at the bottom. If there is anything, just talk to your child's teacher. If you think they're struggling with certain things, or do I need to work on this, or is this the right way to do things, talk to your child's teacher. You can always drop us an email. We're always here around at the end of the day or beginning of the day, so we're there. The last one I put is judging good balance. There are so many things out there. I've said double homework, I've said more focused lessons, I've said revision materials, I've said all of this stuff. It's kind of your role as a parent to kind of judge what's good balance. Yeah, there are some children who'll be like, yeah, no, don't worry, I've got an after-school club on maths, I don't mind coming home to do a bit of extra maths, that's fine. There are some children who are like, yeah, I'll do some revision and a bit of reading, great. There are some children who, that's going to be a bit much for them. But actually, that's going to be overload, okay? They're going to be end up doing too much and it's going to have a negative effect, okay? We're not the best people to know, you are the best people to know your children about that, okay? So part of it is judging the balance, what is good and is going to help them and give them a bit of extra support, and what perhaps is a bit too much. It's really up to you to judge sort of what's good for them. Okay, are there any questions before I go on to talking about revision materials? Any questions online? No. Okay, that's good. Okay, CGP materials. So, if you have a look online, and I kind of advise that you don't, there are a huge wealth of revision materials. You can buy thousands of pounds worth of maths and different stuff. It seems like there's 17 different books with all very, very similar names. I spent a lot of Monday night going through the website for CGP and trying to work out how can I break this down into stuff that's kind of understandable and logical and get away from all the stuff you don't need to see. So this is what I've come up with. These materials, we sort of say you can order them through us. We'll collect in all your orders and we'll order them all at once and then we'll pass them out. You can obviously order any of these things online yourselves and you can get them from WH Smith, anything like that. We do get discounts at school. I was quite surprised the amount of discount we get. It's somewhere about 50% or something more than that discount. So it is worth coming through the school to get these things. I've kind of broken it down into sort of 4 sections really. To make it more comprehensible. I'll try and run through. So first you've got the study and revision books. These are the kind of books that I remember having at GCSE where they talk you through how things are done and there's kind of a few questions at the bottom. Okay, so they kind of talk you through every single objective. If they're not sure how to do something, it'll talk you through nice clear examples, they're nice and colourful, and then it'll give you a few questions at the bottom to practice. So they're the whole one, they cover everything. The problems with these are there's not necessarily a huge amount of questions to practice with. You've then got the SAT Busters. They are a lot more question focused, a lot more little sections with lots and lots of questions to practice on different topics. So there's those ones there. I've put up as a SPAG bundle and a maths bundle. I've only put the bundles up there. You can buy the spelling, punctuation, and grammar separately. You can buy different areas of maths separately. I don't really see the point. It costs more money. You can get all of it for a lot cheaper, and you may as well have the whole thing. Okay, I don't know if anyone who goes, oh, you know, everything's great apart from measure. You know, you genuinely get a whole lot. Then there's reading fiction one and a reading non-fiction one. Again, they don't come as a bundle. I would probably put them together as well. There's 10-minute test ones. I'm going to go and get some to show you. I've completely forgotten to do that because you've got some on the side. Oh, I will show you some of those. Would you be able to? Yeah. I don't know where I'm asking you to go because I don't know.
On your desk.
I think if you don't, in a minute, I will go and find some for you.
You can do it.
To show you what they're like, because I completely, and I was taken off guard. There are some of the, I've got one here, here's an example, right? These are the SAT Busters, but I mean, you know, you'll have a look through in a second, but they're just lots of questions. This one, you know, lots and lots of questions of different things, the title at the top, and loads of things they can work on. I'm going to get some more in a second. There's the ones there as well. The other ones you've got are the 10-minute tests. They are very similar to these ones. Lots and lots of questions, except they're broken up into tests, which I presume 10 minutes long. So 10 minutes long test, you get about 8 to 10 questions, and it'll give you a mark at the end, it'll give you a score at the end, and a grade at the end. It's all got all the answers in the back. So they're quite good, as you say, if you've got 10 minutes, quick test like that, they're quite good to do a short focus session. They're very similar to those in the style of questions, but it's quite good for children to know it's 10 minutes. Okay, if you've got a lot of things going on, look, it's just 10 minutes, that's all it is. It's a 10-minute quick thing. You can do a test, and you can see your progress very, very easily, how well you're doing, because there's like sort of tests, and you can go through them, and they cover different things, and you can track your score and stuff like that. And you can get all of them. So there's a SPAG of reading the maths, you can get all of them together. There are also practice papers. They are actually all the example test papers, just like they would be in the SATs. They can just go through an actual test paper, gives them a mark at the end, gives them a score whether they're at greater depth, working towards, and you can do the whole lot. There's lots and lots of sets. I only put 2 sets up there because no one should be really getting them more than 2 sets. It's given that each set has all of the tests in twice over. That's a lot to be doing. So I've only put set 1 and set 2 up there. The English one is one and a spelling, punctuation, and grammar, and the maths one is all of the maths one, so the arithmetic and the reason papers. But 2 lots of each, so you get double in one. So I would really advise, I would only get 1 set really. There's 2 whole sets, it's a lot. So you've got English practice paper and maths one. There's practice papers. There's some advanced things we've got. A lot of these are new for this year. So there, if you're looking to maybe your child to be looking at greater depth, if they're doing really well in their maths, you know, they're passing the sort of the average level easily. Maybe you want to stretch them a little bit. There's a 10-minute test for maths, an advanced version. There's a reading bundle, which is a kind of a stretch thing, which looks at kind of hard comprehension questions. This is new for this year, so I haven't got examples of these necessarily because they are new this year. And some advanced maths revision, advanced maths question book as well. Again, these are all new. I haven't got examples of those at the moment, but if you look at the standard ones, you will see, you know, it's that advanced. Okay. I will go and get some for you to look at. There's a couple there. These are the SAT Busters. I'll leave that up on the screen, and you can just have a look at some of those, and feel free to ask your teacher, you know, what sort of things might be useful for your child along those lines. Are there any questions about that? I'm aware it's difficult to visualise these when I'm just talking about them, but I'll go and grab some for you. Okay, let me go and do that, and then
Forms over
if you've
here,
got
so
any, I've brought some forms. Are they the ones I brought in?